Everyone is already in the car. The bags are packed. The hotel reservation is saved on two phones. The GPS says the drive will take 4 hours, but one person is still standing beside the vehicle, checking the gas gauge, looking at the tires, and asking which road they'll take if the highway is closed. There's cash hidden in two different places. A printed copy of the reservation sits in the glove compartment. A portable charger is fully charged, and the address has been written on a piece of paper just in case the phones stop working. Someone laughs. You always think something is going to go wrong. And the person answers, almost offended, I'm not worried, I'm prepared. That difference matters more than it seems. Because for some people, especially many members of Generation X, having a backup plan is not proof that they expect disaster. It may be the only reason they can stop expecting it. You probably know someone like this. They carry cash even when every store accepts cards. They keep old appliances because the new ones might break. They save phone numbers outside their phones. They arrive early, maintain professional contacts, even when their job feels secure, and rarely depend on a single person, tool, income source, or promise. From the outside, it can look excessive. People may call them pessimistic, rigid, suspicious, or controlling. They may hear that they need to relax, trust the process, or stop preparing for problems that haven't happened. But what looks like fear can sometimes be a carefully developed form of confidence. They may not believe that everything will go wrong. They may simply believe that nothing should have enough power to leave them helpless. Imagine someone considering a new job. The opportunity is exciting, but it comes with uncertainty. Instead of focusing only on the salary or the title, this person calculates how many months they could survive without income. They update their resume. They identify former colleagues they could contact. They research what they would do if the new position disappeared. Once all of that is done, they accept the offer. To another person, this preparation might look like anxiety, but internally it may have created the freedom to take the risk. The backup plan did not make them more afraid of failure. It made failure feel survivable. Psychologists sometimes use the term self-efficacy to describe a person's belief that they can handle challenges and produce results through their own actions. In ordinary language, it is the feeling that says, I may not control what happens, but I trust myself to respond. For people who rely heavily on backup plans, security may not come from believing the environment will remain stable. It may come from believing they will remain capable when the environment changes. That belief is rarely built through reassurance alone. It is often built through experience. You solve a problem with limited resources. You repair something instead of replacing it. You find work after losing a job. You adapt to a new technology, a new family situation, or a new economic reality. Each time you manage, your mind stores a lesson, not nothing bad will happen. Something more practical. When something happens, I find a way. Over time, preparation becomes more than a habit. It becomes a way of regulating uncertainty. An unknown problem feels enormous because it has no shape. But once you imagine a few possible responses, the threat becomes smaller. You have transformed a vague danger into a sequence of actions. Call this person. Take this road. Use this money. Stay here. Fix that first. The uncertainty still exists, but now it has edges. And for many people in Generation X, this mindset may connect to the environments in which they learn to function. Not every Gen Xer had the same childhood, and no generation is psychologically uniform. But many grew up during a period when independence was often expected earlier, supervision could be less constant, and immediate contact with parents was not always possible. You might come home to an empty house, solve small problems alone, manage your own time, or learn not to interrupt adults unless the situation was serious. Later, you might watch industries change, jobs disappear, pensions become less certain, technologies replace familiar systems, and institutions make promises they could not always keep. These experiences do not automatically create distrust, but they can teach a specific kind of caution. Use the system, but know how to function without it. Accept help, but do not make survival depend on it. Trust the plan, but locate the exit. This is why some people feel calmer with printed directions even when they have GPS. The paper is not necessarily better. It simply represents independence from a single point of failure. The same logic can appear in relationships and careers. A person may care deeply about their partner but insist on having money of their own. They may appreciate their employer but continue learning skills outside their current role. They may trust their family but avoid asking for help until every private option has been exhausted. Sometimes this is healthy autonomy, but sometimes the same behavior protects something more vulnerable. Because self-reliance can grow from confidence, and it can also grow from the conclusion that depending on others is dangerous. Two people can create the exact same backup plan for completely different reasons. One person thinks, I like knowing my options. The other thinks, I cannot allow myself to need anyone. From the outside, both look organized. Both save money, research alternatives, and prepare for disruption. The difference becomes visible when no backup plan is available. Consider two travelers whose flight has been canceled. The first checks other flights, looks at nearby airports, and calls the hotel. When none of the alternatives work, they feel frustrated, but they gradually adjust. Their preparation is flexible. It helps them respond without convincing them that every situation must be controllable. The second traveler also searches for alternatives. But when every option fails, something deeper is activated. They become furious, unable to think, or trapped in repetitive questions about how this could have happened. The canceled flight is no longer just an inconvenience. It has created the emotional experience they were trying to avoid, being dependent, surprised, and unable to act. This is where preparation can quietly become vigilance. The problem is not having a plan B. The problem begins when you need one in order to function emotionally. A useful backup plan expands your choices. A defensive backup plan attempts to eliminate the feeling of uncertainty itself. And uncertainty cannot be eliminated. It can only be managed, tolerated, or disguised. This is why some highly prepared people never feel fully prepared. They save money, but the amount never feels sufficient. They create an alternative, then need an alternative to the alternative. They double-check the door, the route, the reservation, the conversation, and the decision. Each action provides a brief moment of relief. Then the mind produces a new question. But what if that fails too? At this point, planning is no longer solving a practical problem. It is trying to negotiate with an emotion. And no number of escape routes can guarantee that you will never feel trapped. There is also an identity hidden inside this pattern. You may not simply think, I need another option. You may think without ever saying it aloud, I cannot be the kind of person who has no option. You are the reliable one, the prepared one. The person who brings the charger remembers the documents, solves the crisis, and knows what to do when everyone else freezes. That identity can create genuine pride. People trust you, families depend on you. Coworkers call when something breaks. You have survived situations that might have overwhelmed someone with fewer internal resources. But there is a cost to always being the person who can handle everything. Eventually, rest can feel like lowering your guard. Receiving help can feel less comfortable than giving it. Trusting someone else to manage the details can produce more anxiety than doing all the work yourself. You may even become irritated with people who appear more relaxed, not because they are irresponsible, but because the relaxation touches a possibility you do not fully permit yourself. What would happen if you stopped anticipating every problem? Would you feel free or exposed? That is the more important question. When you prepare an alternative, do you feel that you have gained freedom or merely postponed anxiety? One sign is what happens after the plan is complete. If you can prepare, put the plan aside, and return to the present, your preparation is probably serving you. But if every backup plan creates the need for another, you may not be protecting the future. You may be trying to escape a feeling in the present. The next time you feel compelled to create one more contingency, pause for a moment. Ask whether you are responding to a realistic risk or trying to remove an emotion that planning cannot permanently remove. You do not need to abandon caution. You do not need to become careless or hand control of your life to someone else. The goal is not to stop carrying a map. It is to discover whether you can still move when the map ends. Back at the car, the person closes the trunk. The cash is divided, the route is confirmed, and the reservation is printed. Everyone jokes about the precautions, but now the behavior looks different. Maybe this person is not waiting for disaster. Maybe they learned long ago that promises feel temporary, systems can fail, and calm comes from knowing they can respond. That lesson may have produced resilience, competence, and freedom. It may also have taught them to remain ready when they are finally safe enough to rest. A backup plan can be an exit route. It can also be a bridge toward courage. The difference is whether it gives you more ways to live or makes you feel that you must always be ready to escape. If you recognized yourself or someone in your family, share your own Plan B habit in the comments and subscribe for more explorations of the psychology hidden inside everyday behavior.